Good morning, everybody. I am Chair Justin Olson, and I am calling this meeting of the Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau to order. First point of business is to stand for the pledge. So if you would please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everybody. Alexa, would you please do the roll?
Chairman Olson,
Here.
Vice Chair Kambata, Director Grasula,
Here.
Director Hinson,
Here.
Director Levine,
Here.
Director Newt,
Here.
Director Olson.
Here. Thank you very much. Item number 3 on our agenda this morning is actually adoption of the agenda. I will look for a motion to adopt this morning's agenda, please.
I'll move to adopt the agenda.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, have 2 seconds. We'll go with Drusilla since I heard her first. I think this year's just a little better than this one, Eric. Sorry about that. Anybody have any comments on the agenda? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, that motion carries. And item 4 is approval of the minutes. We have item 4.1, which is the November 28th, 2023 Cottage Grove Convention and Visitors Bureau meeting minutes. Are there any changes or questions or comments on those?
No.
All right, those will stand approved by unanimous consent. Thank you. We'll move on to item 5, which is business items. Item 5.1 is our 2023 Quarter 4 lodging tax update, and Jamie is going to take us through this. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. We had a great year last year in 2023. Quarter 4 lodging tax revenue came in over budget again, slightly over budget, but still over budget, at $16,707. Our projected lodging tax for the quarter was $16,587. So we were 0.07% over our budgeted amount for revenue for quarter 4. Overall, in 2023, we were 5.7% over our budgeted amount and came in at just under $100,000 to a budget of about $94,000. So quick and easy. I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Well, it's always good to start with some good news, isn't it? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Did anybody have any questions or comments for Jamie with respect to the 2023 Q4 lodging tax?
No.
Jamie, what do we attribute that to? Just a little bit busier season for us with different things going on, et cetera?
Well, if you recall, when we went back to our budgeting, we did increase our lodging tax estimates for 2024 to 63% versus 60%. So I think we were a little bit under budget on the lodging tax side, but we did come in higher on the grant and the CVB, or the Food Truck Festival truck revenue.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Item 5.2 is the Visitors Bureau Strategic Plan, and I believe Gretchen has this one. Is that right?
I do. Thank
All
you,
right, good
Chair.
morning.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Just real briefly, we had been working on an RFP for a strategic plan for the CVB, and we issued the RFP earlier in the month, and we had it out for about 3 weeks. We had hoped, given the discussions prior to actually issuing it, that we'd probably get 4 or 5 proposals. Unfortunately, we only received 1. And while they're well qualified, they don't necessarily have any experience in the tourism industry. So we've decided to go ahead and tweak the RFP, put it back out for the next month. In your packet, we had originally said March 22 was the deadline, but we've decided to change it to March 28th, just so you know the disconnect there. Because we might as well just give them a full month, because we're not in any particular rush for the RFP to come back in, since you don't meet again until May. This time, though, we're going to ask our partners in the chamber, the Minnesota Chamber and Explore Minnesota, to push it out a little harder for us to select consultants that they may work with. And then we're also going to place an ad in the League of Minnesota Cities and in the Pioneer Press and the Minnesota Business Journal, because we know consultants generally look for RFPs in legal postings. And so we're hoping with that we'll get some more submittals that you'll be able to select from, or we'll make a recommendation for. And happy to answer any questions.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So before I ask any questions, does anybody on the board have any questions for Gretchen about this plan? No. I do have a couple myself, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Number one, I think it's a smart decision, obviously, to extend the deadline a little bit, considering that we want to make sure we do this right. Have we had any conversations with others that we work with as a city with regard to strategic planning, for example, Ethical Leaders in Action? Have we asked if they maybe have some contacts or know of anybody who does this sort of work in this particular niche?
We've actually talked to all of our partners, so hopefully this next round will be a little more strategic with what we do and ask them to help us with it.
Okay, all right, good. And then the second question I had to do with how we're advertising. I know we do RFPs regularly, so, you know, I'm certainly talking to the subject matter experts here as it relates to the way in which we kind of go to market with this. But, you know, because we're a Convention and Visitors Bureau, are there other avenues that we may want to explore that lean more towards sort of what we're looking for versus your standardized municipal government RFP? I saw we're advertising through the league, we're advertising in the various newspapers. I just don't know if there are other publications or anything of that nature that we might want to take advantage of. And, you know, frankly, it boils down to I don't know what I don't know. So just curious if you're hearing from others who kind of do this sort of work, that there may be potentially other avenues to try to source somebody who's going to fit our needs. And anybody who wants to answer that can answer that.
Well, we have discussed that. Alexa and I just discussed that yesterday, as a matter of fact. Like, let's look at everybody who's in this business and try to figure out, because there's so many people who do strategic planning, and they do a great job. And even the submittal we received, they're clearly qualified, but they don't have any tourism expertise.
Right.
And so I think that's really the challenge, is that we've got to figure out who makes the most sense to share it with as our partners. Explore Minnesota and the Minnesota Chamber and our Chamber of Commerce are certainly three that are very influential. But yes, we are going to talk about who else would we send it to,
Okay, all
even though
right.
we'll issue it this week.
Right. I'm just wondering, you know, sometimes there are specialty, like websites and things of that nature. And if those things do exist, it would be a shame if we didn't take advantage of it. So, good. Any other questions at all for G? Go ahead.
I'll ask one question, and just to clarify, so you're looking for companies with expertise in the tourism, obviously. Are you also looking for companies that are based here in Minnesota?
Well, yes, actually, that was our original
Yeah.
scope. We didn't really send it out of state, but so we're competing with a lot of folks, even Woodbury, who's gonna set up a DMO, which is a direct marketing organization. So we want someone who has expertise in our area, if we can, but then also has that expertise in the tourism industry, because we're gonna just butt up right against our neighbors. And we'd like to have a cooperative relationship, obviously, but they're gonna do things that, and have budgets that are far exceed ours. So we're gonna try as hard as we can.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move on to item 5.3, which is our 2024 Visitors Bureau Events Plan. And we have Liz with us this morning. Hey.
Hello.
Welcome. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair and board members. I'm happy to share the 2024 event schedule for Discover Cottage Grove. We have a tentative date of Saturday, June 8th for Cottage Grove Community Night at the St. Paul Saints. This is an opportunity to get in front of a really large crowd that may not know of all the happenings in the city. Our biggest one, of course, being Strawberry Fest, which is our largest community event, and this is the one we will be promoting the most heavily. Speaking of Strawberry Fest, we are excited to be back at the fest in the Strawberry Fields Marketplace. This has an expected attendance of 20,000 people, and again, is the largest event. And on a personal note, I've never been, so I'm very excited to attend my first Strawberry Fest this year. The Food Truck Festival is hosted by Discover Cottage Grove. We had a lot of success in the inaugural year With the support of the food truck committee, we are going to add more food trucks this year and are hoping to increase the perimeter of the event so folks can spread out a little bit more in the grass. This will also be the unveiling date of the Eric Dowdle painting and the kickoff to the puzzle sale. Last year's attendance was about 6,000 people, and we're estimating between 8,000 and 10,000 folks this year. In 2023, we enjoyed unseasonably warm weather for the hometown holiday celebration, which helped increase attendance. This is a free event that had carnival games for the kids and photos with Santa, Mrs. Claus, and of course, Sparkle the Elf. With Thanksgiving falling on the last Thursday of November this year, this will either be late November or early December, date TBD. The CPKC releases their train stops in the fall, so we will know later this year when the train stops in Cottage Grove. Our stop is one of the most popular, so we are looking forward to welcoming the train once again this year. Before we start our events in 2024, we need to replenish our giveaways. The backpacks were very popular as they are showcased in this photo, of course. So we're looking to order more of those and other items to be decided at a later date. Before you is a recommendation, and I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Well, thank you very much. That's a lot packed into a pretty small presentation. Wow. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, which looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Before we get to the recommendation, does anybody have questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas, anything for Liz? I think she's been up all night. She's ready for you.
I'm ready.
Yep.
Anything you got, let's go.
I have a question regarding chronologically here, the St. Paul Saints game.
Yes.
Sounds fun. I believe we did it last year. I personally didn't attend, but I heard it was a fun get-together. How do we promote and advertise that within the community, thinking CGAA, baseball, softball? Obviously, there's a connection. How do we promote that? Educate me on that and how we can grow some attendance.
Thank you for the question. I'm going to pivot over to Jamie, as I wasn't
Smart
there last
pivot.
year, so.
Smart
let her-
pivot.
And then
Good
I
job.
guess coupled with that is, do the Saints allow so many tickets, or is it first come, first serve? How does that work?
Yes, thank you, Chair, members of the board. This is our third year of attendance. We've had great success in the past 2 years attending. It's a fun event to work. I would happily invite all of you to join us at the event to work the booth that day. We are allotted some tickets with the package that we purchase. They have shifted their packages a little bit. I'm still working with them to figure out what's included for this year so we can update you once we know. But then they do open a ticket portal for Cottage Grove residents to purchase tickets right through the portal as well. I don't know that they allocate a certain number to us through that portal, but as long as there's tickets available, I think our residents can purchase them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jamie, do you mind if I chime in a little bit on that?
Feel free.
I want to try to add a little color to the purpose behind the Saints partnership, so on and so forth, for those of you who may not be privy to why we started it, et cetera. And Jamie, Jennifer, whomever, feel free to chime in and correct me when I'm wrong. 2 years ago, the Saints approached us when we were brand new as a Convention and Visitors Bureau about a local partnership. And essentially the theme was Cottage Grove Night at the Saints game. One of the reasons we chose to take advantage of that partnership and utilize the timeline that we utilized, which this year also, as you noted, includes tentatively a June date, is because we wanted to be there to feature Strawberry Fest. And we made sure that we had a bunch of giveaways, and in fact, I think we ran out the first year. Did we run out last year too? Yeah. So a bunch of us got together from the CVB and the city staff and dressed up in our CVB gear, and you guys saw the pictures. We had the CVB awning there, et cetera, and people were very interested. A lot of people stopped by. We had a few of us standing out in front on the concourse, handing out gifts and talking to people about Cottage Grove. And again, the intent was, you know, this is a Convention and Visitors Bureau. We wanted visitors. And boy, did we ever get them, because that Strawberry Fest 2 years ago was the largest Strawberry Fest that we, I think, had ever had. Now, the caveat to that is we'd been off for a few years because of the pandemic. So there was probably some built-up demand, plus I think we had absolutely beautiful weather. We were very blessed that year. But we had just a massive turnout, and so we thought to ourselves, gosh, this is something we need to keep doing. What the Saints did, Eric, is they opened up that portal for tickets, and I don't know if you remember this, but they picked a local charity, and the charity they chose was the Lions. And anybody who bought tickets through that portal got to contribute a portion of that revenue towards a charitable donation to the Lions Club. And then, of course, the Lions passed that through to the CVB. Last year, that changed. The portal last year was still open and you could still purchase tickets, and they had sort of 3 sections of tickets right in front of our CVB booth that they designated for Cottage Grove folks. But they didn't do the charitable donation last year, which was fine. It was a couple $100, no big deal. But they did make sure that they allocated a certain chunk of tickets. But there again, we set up, we made sure to hand out a bunch of things. We had some cool stuff last year. We had fishing lures last year that I think everybody really liked. We also used those at the community showcase. Again, we had just an amazing Strawberry Fest last year. It was huge. Weather again was good, but turnout was just magnificent. So it feels like there's some really good synergy there. It feels like it's mutually beneficial. The Saints get a bunch of people at their games. Got a little cold that night, but we still had people who went down on the field and did what was it? Was it a sausage race? I can't remember what it was, but it was some kind of field event, right?
Yes, Chairman, it was like a horse race where they were on inflatable horses.
Yeah, right, yep. And so the mayor participated in that. For some reason, I had a sore knee or something. I couldn't get down there at that point in time. But I know Commissioner Bigham went out there, et cetera. So I think it's a fun thing to do for the city. I think people enjoy it. It's close. It's in St. Paul, so it's not just a hideous drive. And it seems to be working out well for our friends at the Strawberry Fest as well. So I just wanted to add a little color to that and let people know why we're doing this. And the Saints have been tremendous partners. They've been really, really good. It's not a massive expense. I think the most expensive thing is the stuff we give away. So any other thoughts, questions, since we're still talking? Lori, go ahead.
I'll add just one idea that came across my desk yesterday that I may use down the line, but as long as you were talking about looking at different giveaway items, something that was really cool is the reusable snack bags, and they were logoed, and I thought, how fabulous is that? Because every mother and parent is carrying those snack bags around for years and years and years, and so to have so I have no idea on pricing or whatever, but I just thought it was a fantastic long-term giveaway
Yeah.
to spread around our community.
Thank you for the comment. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something sustainable, so
Yeah.
thank you.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
It really is. And now's the time to share those because they haven't placed an order yet. So they're just brainstorming in terms of what to do. Any other thoughts or comments at all?
Back to the Saints booth, of course, promote Strawberry Fest. It's 2-3 weeks past the Saints game, but we might want to consider also having some literature or touting the September Food Truck Festival, as that's roughly 90 days away. And that's the same type of crowd, right? Baseball, food truck, and fun, so.
Yes, thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Last year, we had huge success with having a backpack with a giveaway, so we were able to stuff flyers and the visitor's guide into all of the backpacks to give away. So yes, we will absolutely promote the Food Truck Festival along with Strawberry Fest, and our visitors guide we would love to include as well.
And Jamie, would you stay up there, please?
Sure.
No offense, Liz, but Jamie is a little more familiar with this. So you mentioned that last year we gave away the backpacks and we had different things in there. And I think the comment by Board Member Olson was definitely relevant because I know you and I met about the food truck here a couple weeks ago. Liz briefly mentioned we're going to do the puzzle reveal at the Food Truck Festival this year instead of Strawberry Fest. Can you maybe walk us through a little bit of how that came to be, what the vision is, et cetera, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman, members of the board. So with the puzzle, we learned that it was going to be slightly delayed for the date that we could reveal it. So if we couldn't capitalize on having it available for sale at Strawberry Fest, we wanted to go to our next biggest community event, which is our Food Truck Festival. As Liz said, we had roughly, we're estimating about 6,000 people last year at the event. So this year, we're hoping for higher attendance with more food trucks and kind of a larger event. We're looking at other possibilities with the committee on things we can do as well. Everything is to be determined right now. We just started meeting as a committee for that. So we thought that was a great opportunity to reveal the painting and start puzzle sales. While we don't have exact timing, we'll probably start off early in the day. I know the Food Truck Festival starts at 11 a.m., so we'll probably start off early in the day with the puzzle reveal, or the painting reveal, so we can sell puzzles for the entirety of the Food Truck Festival, so.
Perfect, thank you very much. And for those who aren't aware, that date, I think, is the 14th of September, is that right?
Yes, she mentioned it in her
Yep,
presentation.
okay,
Yep.
beautiful, thanks. Any other questions for Liz or Jamie with regard to the events plan? Again, certainly looks like it's going to be fun. With that, I will entertain a motion based on the recommendation on your screen, please.
I'll make a motion to approve budget for event giveaways.
Okay, and that budget is a spend up to $15,000?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, those opposed, say no. And that motion stands passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are now going to move on to item 5.4, which is the 2024 Visitors Guide. Jamie just mentioned that we're stuffing backpacks with that thing last year for the 23 guide. So Jamie, why don't you take us forward into 2024?
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. So we have a new graphic designer on staff, and she has created a fantastic updated 2024 Visitors Guide for you. For those of you who are fairly new to our board, I will tell you our first Visitors Guide was in 2022. In 2023, we did a refresh. So the content remained basically the same, but we changed the cover, some of the photos, and obviously like dates of events and such inside the guide changed. For 2024, it's a completely new revamped Visitors Guide. Courtney, who was unable to be here today, did a wonderful job, and before you, you'll have a printed copy of the draft Visitor's Guide for your review. It was also sent in your packet as well. You can see a few of the layouts on your screen in front of you too. So our cover features probably our most unique item in Cottage Grove, which is the treehouse, which is at Hope Glen Farm. That actually is a paid ad for us this year. We had them, we offered them the opportunity to advertise on our cover, which we haven't done previously, so they did pay for their treehouse to be featured on the front cover of the Visitor's Guide. We also had additional ads throughout the book. As you can see when you look through it, I'm not going to talk through every single ad in there, but it turned out beautifully. We are open to feedback. It has not gone to print yet. Obviously, it's before you for the first time today. A few of the features, we've kind of broken it down into 5 categories. We have explore, eat, play, events, and extras. I'm not going to walk through everything that's in each category, but I'm going to point out a few new things that are in the guide this year that we haven't had previously. So there is an article on accessible Cottage Grove, which includes our accessible playground in Cottage Grove. We also partnered with Strawberry Fest to include some of the winning Top Chef contest recipes in the book. So there's 2 recipes featured from the Top Chef contest at Strawberry Festival. We also have top 12 book recommendations, which actually came from the Park Grove Library. They told us their top read books or top checked out books from 2023. So that's a new feature as well, along with photo contest winners are now featured, called out actually as photo contest winners in the book. We've previously been able to use their photos, but this year we're actually featuring them, and there's a call to action on that page that tells people to share their photos with us, tag us in their photos on Facebook, Instagram, any social media. So that's kind of a quick overview of the couple new things that are listed. We also have standard things like our Strawberry Fest is featured, our Food Truck Festival is featured, our events are listed. So things to do like golf course and all of the great things to do in Cottage Grove, Oakwood Park, which is disc golf, There's a ton of information in the book that you can review. Now, on to the business side. So in 2023, we purchased 5,000 books. We ran out in about October. We had such great giveaways between the Saints game and Strawberry Fest that depleted our stock of books faster than or the year previous to that. When I went back for a quote to reprint, it was almost as much as the initial printing of 5,000 copies, and I was only asking for about 2,000 copies. So this year we want to increase our guides that we purchase. We are looking at hoping for approval from you for a purchase of 7,000 guides for 2024. We think that amount should get us through the entire year of 2024 between welcome centers, the events that we go to. People can also request these online. We have an online submission form where they can request them and we mail them out to them as well. We also have them here at City Hall. If people stop in, they can pick them up. I believe the chamber has them at their office as well. So they are available throughout Cottage Grove. They're at the ice arena too for people to pick up. One thing to note, we can offset a little bit of that cost with the 6 ads that are in there. We had $4,450 in ad sales, including that cover ad that you see of the treehouse on the front of the book. So with that, before you is a recommendation, and I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Thank you, Jamie. This is really neat. I really like the look of it. Before I share any comments, I'll open it up to the board here. Any questions, thoughts, comments that you want to share with Jamie and the team? Go ahead.
I'll just make a quick comment. This is beautiful. It's a beautiful guide. And on behalf of the chamber, we're really excited to be a part of it this year. We hadn't in the past. And so I was excited when Courtney reached out to ask if we wanted to be a part of it. And on top of that, as much as we wanted to be a part of it, we didn't have I didn't have a marketing person that was able to create the ad. And so she jumped in and helped with that as well. So impressed with everything that she did and excited to be a part of this.
Thank you very much. And for those who aren't aware, Board Member Levine is also the queen of all she surveys as it relates to the Cottage Grove Area Chamber. She's changed titles several times, so I'm probably going to get it wrong. But, I think you're basically chairman, CEO, CFO. You're everything, right? You do it all? Yeah, so it's great to have the chamber in lockstep with us on this partnership. Thank you very much. Any other comments, questions? Okay, good. So before we get to the recommendation, Jamie, first of all, just my general impression, the layout of this is much better than what we've done in the past. And I know you mentioned that we have a staff person who has some expertise in here, and it really shows. Definitely a much easier to follow layout. The second thing is, some of the little things that we're doing in here in terms of just font changes and what have you, they really stand out. If you didn't have a basis of comparison, you probably wouldn't notice it, but because, we've seen the last couple, it does stand out, and it's a nice document. And I know you mentioned that, we have it, I believe, out at the airport, and we have it at all of our various city facilities and lots of other places, but we also give a lot of these away, which is why you're asking for the additional 7,000 copies. Can you just briefly touch on the partnership we have with Explore Minnesota and how that all links together with our friends at Seavers regarding the guide, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman, members of the board. I will make one correction. We actually didn't get our bid for the airport this year, but we will be at the Mall of America. So the airport is...
The Mall of America is better. Anyway, yeah.
The airport is lottery, so you have to submit your name every year, and that didn't come through for us this year. So we do partner with Explore Minnesota, especially on grants and advertising. So they are a great partner with us. About twice a year, they put out... Once to twice a year, they put out a grant opportunity for us, which helps fund some of our social media paid advertisements. We also work with them to be in, I think there's 6 or 7 welcome centers throughout the state where we distribute our guides through as well. So they'll contact us saying, can you send us 1 or 2 cases of visitors guides? And we send them direct to the welcome centers throughout the state, which are a part of Explore Minnesota as well.
Fantastic, thank you. And I did just receive a text message from our former board chair, former councilman Dennis, and he loves the guide as well and is all in favor. I'm supposed to tell you guys that. So, perfect. Any other questions at all before we get to the recommendation?
Well, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I do like the book. It looks really nice. I like everything about it, the pictures and everything. I do think that we need a few more pictures of diversity to see what, what our community really truly looks like. And then just a question. So it is so you said it's six ads that were sold. Are all of the ads being sold at the same price, or are there different prices depending upon where you are in the book?
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Yes, there is different pricing. I don't know it off the top of my head, but like the front inside cover is a different price than a quarter-page ad. So we have different sizes of ads that you can choose, I think starting at a quarter up to a full-page ad. And the front and back, inside front and back cover are different prices as well. So while I don't know the exact pricing off the top of my head, we do have a different breakdown depending on what size they would prefer. And as far as the diverse photos, we are working on building a library. Being that we are still a newer CVB, we go out to every event that we can to try to take photos. So we have made a conscious effort to try to include diversity in a lot of our photos so we can include them in publications such as this as well.
Okay, perfect. Is there only 6 ads available in each book, or that's just who want it at this time?
Yes, thank you, Chairman, members of the board. We open it up to everybody. We sent it out to an email database we have of businesses. So everybody is welcome to advertise. We only had 6 interested this year. I think last year we had 8. So it's kind of about average for our advertisements in the guide. Being it is still newer, we don't have a huge history of distribution. And like you have cities like Bloomington or some of the bigger kind of tourism cities with the Mall of America and all of the things happening in Bloomington. They kind of have that history where we don't have a long-term history of how many guides are distributed.
Thank you.
Thank you for the comment, Board Member Newt. I talk every year about that, don't I? How important it is that we have photographs in the guide that reflect our diverse community. And as our diversity continues to ramp up every 10 years in the census, we see that it becomes more and more apparent that Cottage Grove is a great place to live, work, and play for people of all backgrounds, experiences, et cetera. One notable item that I did not see in the guide, and I may have missed it, so if I did, I apologize, is the One Family Festival that we do in town. Is it in there? Did I miss it?
Yes.
Okay.
Chair, I believe it's on, while we can't call out every single event on its
No,
own
no,
page,
I
I
know.
believe it's on our calendar where we have spring, summer, fall, winter.
Okay.
If it's not, I will make sure it gets added on there.
Yeah, I just, the reason I bring it up is, it kind of coincides with the comment about our diverse community, because that festival is geared towards the Hmong community, and it draws a ton of people to Kingston Park twice a year, because it happens twice a year. So just a thought there. And I did notice in the photographs that we're making a conscious effort at showing our diverse population base, but there's always room for more. So thank you for the comment, and thank you for such a positive response to that comment. Any other thoughts or concerns before we get to the recommendation here? All right, terrific. So we have a recommended motion in front of us. I will look for somebody to make that motion, please. I hate it when everybody jumps all at once. Yeah.
Motion for a recommendation for the printing of 7,000 visitor guide?
All right, and that cost would be $10,566. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, perfect. That motion carries. Thank you so much. And thanks again, Jamie, for the presentation, and Liz and Gretchen as well for your presentations. Item number 6 on our agenda today is public hearings, and we have none. Item 7 is other business, and this is the area of the agenda where I'm going to open it up for any comments, questions, anything that board members may want to share. So I'll just start down at the end, and you can say that you have something to share or you don't. So do we have anything from board member Newt?
No.
Okay. Any comments, concerns?
No.
No? Okay. How about over here? Nothing? Yes?
I'll real quick just add to our last conversation that the Chamber of Commerce as well has, we are working with a new board member, chamber member to collect video and photography throughout all of our events as well. And I'm happy to share any of that that might be helpful for this guide for next year as well. So between the two of us, hopefully we can get some nice library of photos.
Thank you very much. Comments, questions?
No comment.
Okay. Comments, questions at the end?
I like the cadence of our events. If you look at a calendar, 12 months, the cadence, to me, feels right. There's not too many, there's not too few, so I think seasonality is good here, and I'd like to make that comment. I think we're on the right track.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I am going to ask Jamie to step to the podium one more time because she and I had the opportunity to meet a couple weeks back about this year's Food Truck Festival, and it was shortly before that that we learned that we would be doing the painting unveiling and the Dowdle Puzzle Project at our Food Truck Festival. But I know that, there are some big plans in the works for the Food Truck Festival. And the reason I asked Jamie to stand is because, in my view, it would be very helpful if the members of this body could participate in the planning process. I know that everybody's busy, there's a lot going on, but could you tell us a little bit about when your team is meeting to create some of the excitement and the plans, et cetera, so that if folks do want to participate in that they can?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. We meet about every 3 weeks to plan. So we do have, actually, Director Levine is on the committee for the Food Truck Festival already, but we would welcome anybody else who would like to volunteer. It's a Thursday we typically meet, usually from 3 to 4 p.m. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head of when our next meeting is, but at that time we talk through all things vendors, food trucks, music, timing, everything that's included in the event. So we are looking at potentially adding a marketplace. That's not 100% confirmed yet, whether it's this year or next year. So we are just starting the process. So if anybody would like to be a part of the planning committee, feel free to reach out to me and I can add you to the meeting request for those meetings.
Okay, perfect. And did you have anything you wanted to add? Okay. So the reason I brought this up is, if you don't already know, at one time I was the president of the Strawberry Fest Committee. Mayor Bailey was president before me, and the current president, Lori Olson, who spells her name the same as I do, but we are not related. A lot of people think we're married. We're not. My wife knows better. So, one of the things that we learned working together as a Strawberry Fest Committee is that more hands make for lighter work, and you can certainly get a lot more things done in a very timely fashion if you have more participants. Secondarily, this is going to be a big deal. Arguably our second biggest event of the year next to Strawberry Fest. And if we want to make it really special, whether it's a marketplace, whether it's some different live music, different bands, so on and so forth, it's going to take us a little bit of time to put those plans together, but we need people who are willing to take on certain jobs that are going to be part of the planning committee, just like we do at Strawberry Fest. There's people in charge of fundraising at Strawberry Fest, people in charge of the carnival, people in charge of the parade, people in charge of all the bands, and you can't put people in charge if you don't have people. So we would very much like it if members of the Convention and Visitors Bureau would be willing to help out in whatever capacity they can to plan and execute this event. I certainly will do what I can within the scope of my other responsibilities. But I think this is our signature event, so to speak, and we should be part of making it happen. So I wanted Jamie to just share a little bit. And maybe, Jamie, what you could do is at some point send an email out to the membership just indicating this is our schedule of planning meetings, so on and so forth. And that way, if people do have an interest, they can respond back. Any comments, questions on that at all? I see heads nodding, so hopefully that means people want to help. And we're not talking about a 40-hour work week to help plan this thing, but trust me when I tell you, the Strawberry Fest is as successful as it is because volunteers step up to help. We mentioned the marketplace. Way back in the day, we used to call that the Business Expo. And I ran the Business Expo when the mayor was president of Strawberry Fest. And then when he stepped away and I became president of Strawberry Fest, Councilmember Thiede ran the Business Expo and changed it to the Strawberry Fields Marketplace. And now we have one of our Park and Rec Commission members, Samantha Crabtree, who runs that and is just doing a magnificent job. So this is one of those deals where a little sweat equity would be helpful. And with that, the last thing that I wanted to touch on before we move on to the rest of the agenda is, for those who may not be aware, our friends at Sawashko Cares have their Leap into Legacy event on the 29th, which is Thursday at River Oaks. It starts at 6 o'clock, and I believe it runs until 9 p.m. I may have that wrong. But as the title of the event states, it's a leap year thing. So they only do it on leap years. And this is a way for them to raise funds for Sawashko Cares, get members of the community to participate in learning more about what Sawashko Cares is and does. They are their own entity, although they do work closely with the school district and the various cities, et cetera. And that starts at 6 o'clock. I believe you can go on to the Sawashko Cares website right now and still purchase event tickets. Our Cottage Grove Lions Club is an event sponsor, so we'll have some of our Lions folks there as well. I'll certainly be there along with Commissioner Bigham and some other folks. And then they also have a silent auction that is actually available to view and bid on right now. So for more information, please reach out to Sawashko Cares on their website, or if you want to reach out to me, I'll certainly direct you where to go. I know, Director Levine, you're part of this event too, and it's going to be a big one. It's going to be fun. So looking forward to it. Thursday night, River Oaks, 6 o'clock. Let's move on to workshops. Number 8, there are none tonight, or today rather. Presentations, we've had a bunch, so we'll move past that. And that leaves us at item 10, which is adjournment, and I will seek a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Perfect. Any further discussion before we get to the vote on adjournment? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. The meeting is adjourned, and our next meeting will be Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, 7:30 in the morning, right here in the Cottage Grove City Council chambers. Have a great day, everybody.